2:10 p.m. I'd like to start out by asking you what your full birth name was.
Lillie Mae Lucas.
Lillie Mae Lucas, and where were you born?
Pardon me. Start say Ocean. That's where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
But I was born up here towards Cleveland.
Towards Cleveland. There wasn't a town where you were born in?
At Dixie.
At Dixie. Were you born in a hospital?
Oh, no.
At home?
At home.
Did you have?
I was a twin.
You were, and what was your twin's name?
Lona Morris.
Lona Morris, M-O-R-R-I-S?
Mm-hmm.
And were you both, did she live also?
No.
No?
It was a boy, and he died just a few hours. And the two of us weighed 5 pounds.
Together or separately?
Together.
Okay,
He weighed 2 3/4, and I weighed 2 1/4. I can imagine what I must have looked like.
Oh, very tiny.
They said I had a lot of black hair, and it grew way down, and I was hairy, my arms and legs, and I looked more like a little monkey than I did a baby.
Goodness. Let me ask you again what his name was, because I just assumed you were a girl twin.
No.
Or that he would be a girl twin. What was his name again?
Lona, L-O-N-A.
Lona Morris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you the first of your parents' children?
Yes.
And what were your parents' names?
Dick and Kate Lucas.
And your mother's maiden name?
West.
Okay.
And her brother had a filling station in Old Manford.
And what was his name?
Rufus West, and he raised 3 children there, Leo and Raymond and Pauline, and they all went to school at Old Manford.
At Old Manford. Let's step back a little bit farther before we get into Old Manford. What year did your parents come into the area? Do you know?
Well, Mother had wrote a book, and my sister took it, and then she got it lost. It had all kinds of information in it. And let's see, her folks came from West Plains, Missouri, and they first settled out here when they came to town. My granddad had relatives here, and they was going to try to find them, and they lived in the Newland Caves.
And I haven't ever heard of the Newland Caves, so don't let us forget that, but go ahead and tell me.
And they lived there while he rode the area trying to find the relatives, and the outlaws would come back there, and they would bring food for Grandma to cook, and bring clothes for the kids and things to them, and they were real good.
My word, we've stepped right off into deep water, and I don't want to lose any of this. Okay, what was your grandfather and grandmother's names?
Well, all I ever knew him of is Bud West, and Grandma's was Sarah Elizabeth.
Okay, now was Sarah the one that wrote the book?
No.
Her daughter?
Her daughter.
Okay.
My mother.
Your mother. About what time period then do you think that your grandfather and grandmother came into the area?
Well, just about statehood, I would imagine.
Do you think that your grandfather was in the run for land?
No.
No?
He wasn't.
Okay. All right, now you say when he came into the area they lived in the Newland Caves. Newland Caves, okay. So, do you want to tell me a little bit, did they tell you stories that you could relate to us?
Well, other than just that everybody they talked to told them to watch out because outlaws came there, and of course they were kind of frightened, and then when they did come, why, they were all so nice to them, every one of the men, and then when they left they gave them money, and then the next time they came, they brought things to the kids and gave food, everything, and paid Grandma for cooking and looking after them.
So they didn't mind them being there at all?
No, they didn't. They were real kind to them. And then they found their relatives in the West Basin, and they moved out there. And
Okay.
Soon after that, Granddad died. He was fighting a grass fire and took pneumonia, and he died. And his grave was the first grave in West Basin.
Is that right? Just for a moment, let's talk about the Doolin outlaws. Do you know any names of the outlaws? Did they ever tell you who they were?
No, they never did. If they did, I've forgotten.
You've forgotten?
Of course, I've heard that as a child. That's been a long time ago.
Oh, yes. Did they tell you where this cave was located?
Well, just west of Manford here, but I don't know just where.
Okay. We do know that there was supposedly a cave that's now underwater by the railroad tracks out here west of town. Maybe that was it.
That was probably it.
In that case, they moved really, your grandparents were really close to where you are right now in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And then they moved to the West Basin. What family did they have over there? Who lived over there?
Let's see, a sister, Aunt Sarah Poff, I think lived over there.
I'm sorry, Sarah who?
Poff,
P.
Let's see, P-F-A-F-F.
Okay.
Was her name. And then she later moved to Cleveland.
That was your dad's sister. Your grandpa's sister, excuse me.
My grandpa's sister.
Okay.
And then he had another sister, Lou Carr. I named my oldest daughter after her.
Oh, okay.
She lived to be 94 years old.
My word.
A sweet old lady.
Yes. When they moved into the basin, do you know who was already there? Did your grandfather tell you who was there also? Who their neighbors would have been?
No, you see, Mama was just a child when he died.
Oh.
And so just from stories that I'd heard her tell and my uncles and aunts, and of course Grandma had to work to take care of all of her kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess they kind of run wild in the woods there, and they were all close to a spring one time, and they were thirsty, and they wanted to get a drink, and they didn't know how, so they took turns of taking each other to the heels and hanging on to them while they went down in the spring and drank.
Oh my word. So where did she work then? You said she had to work.
She did laundry for people.
Okay.
And went to their houses, cleaned houses, such like.
Okay. How many children did they have?
Let's see. I named them all. There was Uncle Ruth and Aunt Lillie, and there was a girl named Josie that died as a child, and Uncle Roy, and Aunt Cora, and Mama, and Aunt Bessie. There was 7.
7 of them. Did they all grow up here in the area and go to school here in the area? Was there a school at that time?
They finally moved up by Dixie, and let's see, where did Mama go to school? Maybe she went to Flat Top.
Flat
No,
Top?
not Flat Top.
Flat Rock?
Yeah.
Flat Rock. Where was Dixie located? The town Dixie you keep mentioning.
It's on the road to Cleveland, well back where the bridge is on 64.
Mm-hmm.
It's back east of there. It was just a small community.
Would it be underwater now?
Part of it probably was.
Okay. This Flat Rock that you mentioned, would that then be on east of town here?
I think so. I'm not sure where she went to school, but my dad went to Scrappin Ridge.
Scrappin Ridge. Where was that located?
That was up toward Cleveland.
toward Cleveland. Did they go, how many grades did they attend? Do you have any idea?
No.
A lot of people back then didn't go very long, yes. Did your grandfather farm then, once he got over to the basin?
Yeah.
What was his crop?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, you remembered what Grandma did. I thought
Well, I guess Grandpa died when the children, well, my uncle and one aunt were grown. And I guess them all being younger, they didn't remember things like that, you know.
Right. Can you think of any stories that your grandmother told about when they first came into the area? What was there, other than the outlaws?
No, they, let's see, I think they were just a little store, the Dixie, when they
came in?
Yeah, when they moved over there. And she talked about that they'd go to bed at nights and she'd lock the doors, and she'd get up the next morning, the door was unlocked, and they got to thinking they had spooks. Come to find out, my mother was walking in her sleep. She finally caught her one night, walking all over the little village there.
Oh my goodness. Did they live in a frame house, a log house, a dugout? Do you remember? A sod house? Did they talk about it?
No.
No? Okay. You said that your grandma did laundry, took in laundry. I'm assuming this was done by hand on a scrub board, is that right?
Yes.
Did they ever talk about, and you said she went to other people's homes, does that mean then that there were a lot of people in the area?
Well, I guess there was enough that she could help them and go, you know, to their